fucking day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Streams Fortnite. If you're new to the channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. And in this instance, there's no actual debating going on. It's just me testing that this computer's stable. Fun, fun, fun. However, I don't believe I've actually set this to be streaming to anybody. So, strictly speaking, it's just little old me talking to my little old self. And when you're a live streamer, and you're live streaming on your own without a panel, that's exactly what you're doing. You just sat talking to a mic as though you're talking to an audience. Because the audience isn't even there. They're just a number on a screen, and that's it. Me? It's going to be fun to be had. And if I die immediately in this game, you'll get to see whoever else wins win. Because my only purpose is stressing the graphics card. That's what I'm going to do. And I am connected to all of the things I would be connected to if I was streaming. So I do have, a panel with nobody in it, with a Discord server with a load of people in it, just not me. So essentially it means that, there we go. Died almost immediately. Hey ho. What matters is that it works. So let's just see if that is the case. I'm going to leave this streaming and recording. Just want to get this testing process out of the way, as much as I'm telling people in the panel that I want to do it over next week. But I actually don't. I just want next Monday to come around and me not actually think about it. I think the way to do that is to go to the extremes that I went to with the other two graphics cards immediately. Lower the voltage way down and lower the speed way down. I'm at 0.96 volts, 2610 megahertz. Which compared to other graphics cards in these ranges, I think that's pretty slow. They run somewhere between 2700 and 2800. So I'm going to go with 2600. At 0.95 volts, or 0.96 volts. Or 960 millivolts. That's the right term. 960 millivolts. Seems to make absolutely no difference whatsoever to the frame rate, which is capped. So it's pegged at 180. Fine. Good. Now, live streaming previously dropped that to 150 because I had the OBS encoder set incorrectly. So I had it to use AV1 for recording and H.264 NVEC, or whatever it's called, the one that's graphics card encoding that existed before AV1, which is only a recent addition. It's in the last 12 months that they've added that. But it wasn't using it. It was only using it to record. So as soon as I stressed the graphics card a little bit more, it fell over, or the game fell over, which is good, because it means that if I'm running H.264, I can't run as higher speed on the graphics card. Now, I didn't know that. So using the graphics card to encode with anything other than AV1 puts more stress on the graphics card and means that you have to have tighter tolerances between voltage and speed. So if you're just a gamer, you watch a lot of these YouTube videos and I'll tell you how to overclock or undervolt a graphics card. And when they do so, what they're telling you is if you just run a game, you might be able to push it to this extent. And that's exactly what they do. They show you how far you can push it. And they're not wrong. But what I learned to my detriment while I was figuring out how to tune these things is when somebody who's a tuner says, I don't know, turn up your graphics card by 15 megahertz and then just play the game and see if it works okay. If it does, turn it up another 15 megahertz and so on and so forth, right? What they don't say is if you run the game, run Discord, run G+, let's just tell them Hangouts that I do want to stay in. I want it to be a pseudo live situation, so I do want to stay in the Google Hangouts even though nobody's in there. do hope this isn't actually going out to an audience, because my God, this is boring. My God, I'm boring when there's nobody here. This is what I sound like if I was just talking to myself, doing this with the computer, so I might as well do it to an empty live audience. Probably best to check that I am actually going out to nobody. Especially as my kids are going to start screaming any second. Studio. Also, I want to check that this stream is actually going out, or it does seem okay. Live and unlisted it should be. Please be private. Yes, it is. That's good. 5. Let's just go to the live stream. Yeah, that sounds fine. That sounds good. Oh, bloody hell, that's a loud advert. Yeah, I'm glad I went to the effort of turning up my live stream a little bit, because now the stream volume, although it's not overbearingly loud, is a bit like the other YouTubers who've cottoned on that they need to be at least matching roughly the overbearing ads that will come in between their videos, otherwise it's jarring. So I turned up the stream into a place that I don't really want it to be. I learned how to record stuff properly, and pushing stuff into the red isn't really what I think is right. But that's that's the YouTube way. And when I've downloaded other people's videos and looked at their WAV files and how the waveforms come off their videos once they're on YouTube, I've kind of gone, ugh, if you can't beat them, join them. So if anybody's like noticing that the show's sound is a little bit louder, that's why. I think this is the answer, like it was at the end of the life of the other two cards. Seems extreme to get this card to run under full load at 55 degrees centigrade. Most people would be like, what? My card runs at 80. Like, yeah, I'm sure it does. But I'm running mine undervolted and underclocked. I'm just going to do that from the start, sod it. Why mess around trying to find a higher speed where it's like almost stable running my show? Because in this computer, it's only got to hit summer temperature, and then suddenly that all changes and the stability point moves. Like, let's just set the bar really low. Yeah, 2610, I think, for a card that can do 28, 29, 3 gigahertz. 2610's definitely at the lower end of things. And it makes basically no difference. About 6 or 7% slower in terms of the clock speed only. Who cares? What I do want is absolute stability. I think this is what I'm going to get out of this. Stability. I hope. How many frames per second are we getting? 177, 180. Oh, that's just hitting the frame limiter. Awesome. What I might do is turn the amount of available power down for the CPU now, rather than in summer. So earlier today, my kid called me in and like, oh, Minecraft's crashed. It hadn't. But I think what she's been doing is flying around hours and hours. CPU pegged. And you're like, okay, well, if it's getting a bit too hot, why not just turn it down? I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so you get a golden ticket and it takes you to a golden chest. Golden guns in it. I didn't know that. Okay. Well, sometimes it's quite useful to spectate. Everything seems to be working really well. Game's not crashing. The encoder's not crashing. Oh, there you go. There's the frame rate dropping to 140. 150. Okay. It can have a detrimental effect if you're live streaming and recording, as you'd expect it to. It's not going to stay pegged at 180 frames per second. And I don't think taking it up to 2800 or even 3 gigahertz from where it is now, 2610, is going to gain me any more than maybe 10%. And when it's dropping to 100, what are we at now? 145 frames per second. Is it going to make any difference? Probably. Let's say it's best case scenario. I pushed it up to 3 gigahertz and got 15% improvement in clock speed. That would probably translate into 10% improvement in frame rate if I absolutely pushed it balls to the wall. 10% improvement on 150 FPS is 15 frames per second, so you get 165. Well, it's back up to 180 now. There you go, 160, 150. It drops when it's just running around in a big wide open space by looks. It ain't juddering, it ain't tearing, it ain't going wrong. Looks nice. And why wouldn't it? It's matching the frame rate of the monitor at 140 FPS. And then bobbling back up to 170. The idea being that you keep the 1% lows above 144 and then it's absolutely butter smooth 100% of the time. When it's dropping to 144 average, it's probably 90, 1% lows. In other words, 1% of the frames are delivered at that rate rather than the average rate. In terms of response time, that's really all that matters. 0.8 milliseconds response time. Fantastic. It could be lower, it could be 4, which is what it drops to if it's pegged at 180. But, you know, this is glorious. It looks fantastic. It's really smooth. It's not crashing. So from that perspective, do I care that it's got a lower number, 2600 instead of 2800? Not really. Not even 10%. 7% maybe. Lower. Well, for me, keeping the temperature of the graphics card at 57C, that's pretty badass. I mean, when this cooler's working within the range that it can, because it's only pulling 127 watts on the graphics card at this moment, well within the range of the cooler, and then it keeps it really, it's either like really doing a good job, like now, keeping a 150 watt graphics card at 50C at full load. That's a really good, you know, for how many really good 150 watt graphics cards have there existed until the 4070? None. Yeah, man, this card was designed for this machine, it seems. Runs really cool, which means it's really quiet. But yeah, Minecraft definitely pushes the computer to the limits in that regard. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should leave it. It didn't crash. Sort of hung up for a few seconds. Why risk it? I think I'll turn the CPU down by 5 watts. Currently, it can pull a max of 140. I'm going to turn it down to 135. Right, I'm just going to leave this running. Right, turn it down after I'm
We can have the doctor go now. Yeah, and I need to wear want.
I hear you.
Oh, okay. No, I was trying to ask you a question earlier, but for whatever reason, my microphone wasn't. I wasn't like lighting up green. Is this like the person you're talking to or having a
I'm into
conversation
the
with? Does he
break.
have like a? Huh?
I'm into the break.
That's his. Is that like a YouTube channel?
Oh, who am I talking to? No, this is just some kid named Josh on Instagram because I went to a history meme
Uh,
page and it says successfully measures the circumference of the Earth with 1% of error to 2,200 years ago using a stick. It's a bust supposed to be Eratosthenes. And then so all the comments, none of them are like saying like, oh, how good, like we love the globe. It's all like, no, stupid flat earthers. So of course I just go beat up on these dumb little kids.
Mm. It's
Kindly,
fun.
I paddle their bottoms a little bit. I had a great one. I had a great one yesterday. It was with somebody said, oh, like there's no accurate flat Earth map, and I was like, well, there's not an accurate globe map without a sort. And then all these people are responding to me, conceding, yeah, there can be no accurate globe map, and then they're like somehow thinking I'm wrong. So I'm like, no, 6 times you've conceded. There is no accurate globe map. Like I can't go on, because then they want to get off that topic to go and prove your flat Earth, and for which I said, level, and all horizontals are parallel. Very simple, because like I don't need to get into anything too crazy, because you've just conceded and I've won the point 6 times already. They don't get it. Poor kids.
I had a guy yesterday. He said that he demanded that I show him a tornado inside a box to prove gas pressure always needs a container.
That's weird. And they have such a thing. Like I've been to science museums where they have the little tube, and you have the fan, and it'll do a little tornado
No,
thing. But I think
he
he's
wants like
missing the.
a high pressure and a low pressure system crashing into each other inside of a container.
Well, that's
It's
what's
just
hilarious about that is what that shows is that when there is a vast pressure differential, the outcome is very violent. A hurricane or a tornado, like here's a low and a high pressure system colliding together, and the result is violent. Same thing with an airplane. Here's a low pressure on top and a high pressure on the bottom, and the result is a violent reaction. You're flying.
yeah.
It's absurd.
Well,
So
it's
yeah,
essentially.
yeah,
But see, what a tornado is just all it is a violently spinning column of air that comes out of the sky because of a storm.
yeah, yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like I'm thinking
So it's not even.
inflate, it's like if you inflate your lungs and blow air out, you're blowing up pressurized air that's coming out of a container, which is your lungs. And the
Yeah,
thing is, it's not like a tornado is a permanent fixture. It's just uh, a rotating vortex of air, which is
yeah,
exactly what a fan on top of a box would be.
yeah. And the fast moving wind will cause, yeah, there's a lot involved in there, none of which prove his point. So it's just like it's a non sequitur, wouldn't it be? It would just like, oh, look at the car over there. Like, hey, we're talking about the grass. Why you
Yeah,
pointing? Why you telling me to look at the car?
people are just the arguments have devolved into such nonsense.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
like
another.
I think people have been dumbed down even further.
Oh yeah, but just like they were chanting, you can't have a flat plane to the horizon because the water has ripples in it. It's like there's nothing you could say to that because the argument he's trying to make is so stupid. It's like, dude, all you're doing is showing the entire world how you have nothing in this topic to argue with, and you can't defend your position at all. I mean, well, the water's not flat because there's ripples. It's just, I don't know. It seems like hardcore coping. It's like, I mean, if that makes you feel better, if that's what you tell yourself, so you don't have to think about that argument. I mean, there's nothing I can do to help you with that. silly.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the best they can do is cope because it's their religious deity. It's their symbol of their religion of atheism or secularism. Because you can be a Christian and believe in the globe and stuff, or Muslim or whatever. But it is
Yeah.
it's mixing a secular ideology with a traditional religion, like which is based on tradition, which the globe was not part of the tradition of the churches. So churches or mosques or whatever religion. So this is why everybody's so confused. I think that religious debate that's going to happen on December 2nd is going to be interesting. Did you see that?
Oh, the flat Earth pastor versus the
The globetard
heliocentric
pastor,
one.
the globetard
Yeah.
demon, apostate. Yeah, like I want to. I'm in Atlanta, so I kind of want to go. It's like 3.5 hours to go. I want to go see it because like that guy looks like a demon. Like because I saw whatever um David Weiss put up his little clip of this guy going off on flat Earth, and it's like, dude, it's just everything he's saying was like hypocritical too. It's just like, oh god, this
Right.
is awful.
Where's it taking place at? Somewhere in Georgia?
It's in Tennessee.
Oh, damn, because I'm in Alabama. So you said it was a few hours from Atlanta. I'm like, oh, that'd be nice. I could go and see something.
Yeah, Tennessee. It's
Tennessee.
not.
Yeah.
I think that's probably you're probably closer to it than I am. Probably an hour. Oh, an hour. Probably only 2 hours for you, huh?
Well, no, because I'm 4 hours south of Atlanta. Maybe I'm south of
Oh,
Atlanta. I know because yeah, I'm in like the Montgomery area.
yeah. Check it out. Check it out. Go to what is it? What is this? What is this? I think it's dnodal or .com. Let's see. What's
I'm
his
trying to think of
website?
it. Whose channel I saw them talking about that on.
I know Nathan Thompson came on to QE's show the other day and mentioned it too. QE said he's interested in that debate too.
Nathan Thompson. Which one is he? Is he the guy that
He's the guy that was
he
bouncing
he?
the golf balls on the hammer on the Netflix movie.
See, I've never seen Behind the Curve.
It's silly.
But the thing is, when I first got on the flat Earth, those were all the like what's it called? Space Busters with Bob Nodell, Jaron, David Weiss, Witsit, like everyone that was involved in that Netflix. Those were like the people that were getting like catered to me on YouTube. Because I got into flat Earth in 2019 is when I first started actually looking into it because I never heard of it before. So YouTube was a little bit better then, where you could type in like flight paths on a flat Earth and actually find videos from flat Earthers that are doing the videos
Yeah,
that you're looking for. And I remember it was all like, because it's kind of weird how it divided into two camps. There's like Quantum Eraser and Nathan and all the people that are on his panel. Then on the other side, it's all like the Globe Busters and Witsit and Jaronism and David White. It's like two separate factions almost. I mean, there's more than that, but those are the prominent ones.
yeah.
Those are the
Then
ones
there's
that
Dell and his people.
see. I've
But yeah,
never.
the main guys are definitely like the most popular ones are the Glowbusters,
Mark Sargent
which is a shame.
stuff like
That's
that.
what's such a shame. They like
I never liked.
I guess
I could never get into Glowbusters because I feel like it would all be fluff. Like they,
yeah.
I remember.
In 2016 they were great. But then then I don't know 2018 I think I started frequenting, QE, cathexis, and Nathan Oakley, of course, and I just was like, well, their information that they give me is how I go, and I can just go squash all the nonsense on social media because it's like, boom, I have the information, boom, 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 and what and maybe different strokes for different folks. Some people don't care about going and do that, so they just want to hear fluff pieces and more speculation and kind of stuff like that. That's what I think the Globebuster is for, is like for speculation and having some information put out, but not very like it's not a very good way of learning how to debate the topic. Whereas, then the other side is just like, here, this is how you debate the topic. So it's like I don't have disdain for any of them. I appreciate them for what they do, and sometimes they're goofballs about a bunch of stuff. But what am I going to do about it? Cry or get upset? No, I'll just I just sort of. And not everybody needs to be 100%. It's like I take the good part that I see in you, and then I'll take the good part I see in somebody else too. That and they can both not agree with each other. I don't care.
Well, I never really got into Bob all that much. I like on space Globebusters, because I always just honestly thought it was boring as shit listening to him talk. But at the same, and he said a lot of silly things that I just thought was like, I'm like, that's a weak argument. But he had literally the best argument for gyroscopes when he said why he believes gyroscopes are the number one proof that the Earth is flat, and so everyone's got their what they're good at. But yeah, I don't know, Jeranism had some good stuff that I liked. He was real good at like the 24-hour sun in Antarctica and things like that. But then they just do outrageously weird stuff at the same time.
Yeah, Jaren's done some good stuff. He was one of the first on the scene. Him behind, falling right behind Dubé. And there is, not to say that those were the only people out there at the time, but those were the ones that were sort of getting pushed by the algorithm and had some popularity behind them. But Jaren did some decent work, and then Jaren's main thing is just to do a comedy show about spacewalks and NASA. It's like that's what he's good at. He doesn't need to get into science debates. Some people just need to know their lane. It's like, this is your lane,
right?
And it's like I learned, my lane is more. I do better in the chat, talking to globetards, on panels. So it's just like, yeah, sometimes you just gotta accept reality. I don't want to be a social media influencer or anything, but I like talking about this topic. But I'm not looking to get exposure for this topic or anything.
No, I understand.
I admire the people that do, because for me, I work with it's just for work, and I just know how crazy these globetards are, and it's like I just wouldn't even. I don't want to be put into any light to get attacked. So does that make me a coward? Maybe, because that's my reason why I wouldn't want to put my face or myself out there like that, because these people are psychotic.
Right.
Seeing what Nathan and Flatsoid and like even QE have to go through, these people just attacking them all constantly. It's just like, I don't want that in my life.
Yeah,
They're noble for it, and I, tip my hat to them. But damn, like these globetards are very psychotic.
they get really upset. Yeah, they get really upset about the topic and anything that goes along with the topic. I mean, look at like what happened to Brian Mullins or whatever his name was. He ended up like they ended up calling his work and shit, and like just
Yeah,
trolling his
George
job, and he got fired.
Nothook. Yep,
I don't know who
that
that
was
is.
that. That happened. Well, that was the guy who called Brian Mullen's boss, or
Yeah,
whatever. I think he called like the company. It's some company that does the certifications or something like that, and then they contacted. But there's all kinds of stories, lore that goes around. But yeah, that happened early on. That Brian Mullen, he was like the best flat earther on the scene, and then he got dropped out like so quick. And then that's what was clear to me. It was like, oh yeah, I'm not making a YouTube channel talking about this.
right. It's fucked up. What was the? I heard another really outrageously silly argument too. I can't remember what it was. There's been so many of them lately. Oh yeah, do you know? I was talking to Protothed. Just by happenstance, I'm looking for. I'm on YouTube and I'm looking up things for the sextant. On like what the steps are and how to properly use one and what the different parts of the sextant are. Just simple informational videos. And of course, Protothod's one of the like. It says flat earthers are afraid of the sextant or fear the sextant. So I'm like, okay, I gotta watch this because I wasn't expecting. Well, I should have. I guess I should have been expecting to find something like that. But I watch it. And he's talking about how right angles and triangles and celestial navigation are a complete myth. And it blows my mind because I'm like, what's the point on getting the GP of your elevation? Like, because that's what the horizon mirror on your sextant's for. It's to line the horizon up with the star you're looking at, so that it appears as if the star is coming right down to that straight horizon line you see in the distance. And I'm like, and you guys claim that the Earth and the horizon's not used for any of it. It's just straight up lying. But I guess there's really nothing you can do about that. Just they're insane people.
Yeah. Have you seen Charles Flat Earth Math's last video? It
Uh-uh.
was it was hilarious. It was a lie. He had since we're talking about Glover's lying, he had on the screen the real world definition for horizontal, and then he called it right angles to the vertical. And I was like, Charles, you mislabeled this. Like that's not the real world definition. In the real world, we have a definition. It's parallel to the plane of the horizon at right angles to the vertical. But
Right.
it's like that triggers him so much because it proves the Earth is flat. He can't have he can't definition of horizontal be as it's defined. So in his little slide, he has to mislabel it and say the real world definition is this, and it's like no, the real world definition is as you'll find it in the dictionary. But it's just like it's like why would you do that? It's blatantly obvious. Like you're lying. In the real world, we have definitions, and it is defined as such. If you wanted to put a real world definition of the term, you would literally go and put the literal definition there, not what you want it to be, and then call it, oh, this is the real world. No, it's like, no, in Matt's fake world, that's the definition of horizontal. Now, the real world is as it's defined. But it's
And
just, it's
his
just
his
absurd.
definition. What was his definition? Right angles to the what?
Yeah, he was like right angles to the vertical.
So a
Just
right angle
basically
from
the
your
lack
zenith.
what Gloobers always say is they say, oh, like vertical is established from, horizontal is established from vertical, and it's like, okay, like actually no, or maybe so, but that doesn't defeat the purpose that the reference is to the surface of the Earth at the farthest extent of your vision, the horizon, it being parallel with that. Like just
Right.
because you think the Earth is ball doesn't mean that you can redefine terms, because in the real world application of these terms, that is what horizontal is. It will always be parallel with the plane of the horizon, or else it'll be a slope and it won't be parallel. But the black swan
Exactly.
got them twisted, and then this whole horizontal tangent, and it's like a tangent to what? And then so it's
Right.
to level, so it's like a horizontal tangent to a horizontal condition, and it's like, well, that's geometrically an incoherent statement,
Absolutely.
because a horizontal, you can't have a tangent horizontal to horizontal. It's absurd.
Yeah. All their arguments devolve into nonsense. Like Protothat, I don't know if you know, he used to be in the server a lot, like every day, just texting away, and he's one of those dudes where he doesn't come off like a total jerk. Like he's not like he doesn't, he's not going to like be obnoxious or anything. Although he's a little obnoxious on YouTube, I noticed with his comments. But for the most part, I didn't have anything against him. He seemed all right. But like once he said that a right angle triangle in celestial navigation is a myth, but then I went step by step with him, and I said, so you establish your zenith, overhead. You find a star at 50 degrees. You sight the star with your sextant, then you bring the star to the horizon with the horizon mirror. You subtract 50 degrees from 90, which becomes a 40-degree right triangle. Because in the part that makes it the triangle, because you got your line of sight to the star, which is one line. You got your baseline, which is the other line on the bottom, and then you're making that right angle triangle once you bring down your star to the horizon with the sextant mirror. But then, like,
Mm-hmm.
2 comments later, he's like, it's a myth. It's a myth. I'm like, how's it a myth? That's what you're physically doing. You're literally making a triangle. Not physically. It's not like you're going out there with like paint and making a line. But I mean, all through your line of sight, you're making a triangle, and then on top of that, there's 2 90s. You got from the GP of the star that you're looking at in the sky comes down to the horizon and then comes back to your feet if you were standing on the water. That's a right angle. But you also have your zenith angle, which is the right angle. So 2 right angles and a right right angle triangle. It's required to get an elevation angle in celestial nav. And he just keeps just more or less chanting, I hate to say, but that the right angle's a myth, and then he wants to bring up circles of equal altitude. You get 3 circles of equal altitude. So
Oh gosh,
that's
all
2
all
90s
sorts
and
of geometrically dysfunctional.
yeah. So it's like, okay, so you got a flat circle, 2 90s in each circle, and a right angle triangle in each circle. He goes, yeah, but it doesn't work on flat. I'm like,
Yeah, because if you were going to draw those circles out like on a globe, as like, because you would literally draw a circle on the, what is it, a Mercator map, right? You literally would
right,
draw the circle on the Mercator map, but then when you would have to put it on the globe, then that now it becomes an oval.
yeah, exactly.
And you and that's just besides the point that you cannot draw a circle on a sphere. A sphere is a 3-dimensional shape, and a circle is a 2D planar figure, with one single curved line encompassing its face.
Right. Yeah, any circle drawn on a sphere would automatically be an oval.
Yeah, so like that was like the goofy part. I forget who showed that. Nathan has showed that a bunch. Someone else had done it, but that was always goofy to me. And then every representation they show you of like this is how you do celestial navigation. You're doing the angle. You're getting the angle. Like what did they think that there's no baseline? That's what they're really trying. There's no baseline. It's just 40 degrees. Yeah, it's like 40 degrees from what? Horizontal,
Exactly. They want
right?
to say
Like
that the horizontal plane never comes into effect with anything.
yeah, but then they're giving you degrees, and it's like yeah, these are degrees are from horizontal. There you go. Very simple.
What do they call them?
And horizontal references the earth because they always say, oh, it has nothing to do with the earth. Well, horizontal is a direct reference to the earth, to the surface of the earth. Because they say, oh, it doesn't have to take the surface in the account. Well, if it's horizontal, if it's an angle from horizontal, then it is taking the surface of earth into account.
Right.
Because horizontal parallel to the plane of the horizon, which horizon,
Well,
where the apparent position where the surface of the earth, in many cases, the surface of water, appears to meet the sky.
right. If it had nothing to do with the horizontal plane, why would you bring your GP to it? I mean, why would you need to have the GP of the elevation angle?
Yeah. And where do you think you're drawing the circle at? The circles.
Yeah, to your
Yeah.
horizon.
And yeah, in the paradigm that just is a conundrum that is it's like a system doesn't compute sort of thing. It's like somebody has just been lying to themselves for so long that then the truth isn't going to snap them out of it. You sitting them down and beating them isn't going to make them see the truth. It's like literally these people have chemically lobotomized, or yeah, I would say chemically because they watch mundane and they have a fragmented mind due to indulging fantasy so much. So it's imploded their logic centers. So their mind's fragmented. So that way they can that's how they can hold two opposing counter points of view because their mind is fragmented. So on this one counter side, they can say, "Oh yeah, I know what a straight line is," and then on this other one, they can say, "Oh, the horizontal condition is curved,"
Right.
and that's how they can function in reality because they're like, it's like that. What's that M Night Shyamalan movie where the guy was like all like 17 different people or whatever? Yeah, full psychosis.
Uh,
Most of the world is psychotic. Yeah, that movie was I forget. It's funny though.
yeah, I'm not sure.
Where the guy he
What's
would
the
he would he would
center?
be like a woman, or then he would then he had like the beast inside of him and shit, and it was a wild movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that movie is. I'm not big on movies. Like I know a bunch of the classics and stuff, but I don't watch. I can't watch movies anymore. And it has nothing to do with like, oh, this is all BS. The reason why I can't watch movies, but I'm more, I'll watch an older movie is because with the new ones, as soon as it's all like green screened, it's like you can just tell. Like all the actors will be standing there, I'm like they're not even in this castle room. They're literally standing in front of a screen. And for me, it just it,
Yeah,
it just takes me
there's
out of it.
the acting has just gotten so bad. There's no everything's lifeless. It's just like, oh, like this is just an opportunity for you to go follow my social media accounts. I'm just getting my
Right.
name out there to follow my social media so I can be an influencer. And it's not about having an ability to act. Like the last great actor would have to be Denzel, right? Who's still like out there in the industry working. Denzel
Right.
Washington.
He's
Yeah,
pretty good.
I don't like most new movies for sure, but that movie is pretty good because it's like kind of like a superhero movie, but M Night has a way with like kind of making it very real and personable. That movie is called
Right.
Split. Pretty good if you ever catch a chance to watch it. I mean, you know, he becomes like a beast, and you could say that maybe he's possessed by devils or something like that too, but they don't say anything like that in the movie, so I think it's okay to watch. But yeah, most shit is just degeneracy on display, Satanism on display, or some woke agenda, which is ultimately Satanism. Yeah, so I'm not encouraging partaking in movies. I don't myself watch any too many movies either. But I like things that are thought provoking, or or something like an M. Night, where it's like where he flips the table at the end of it, in something, there's some big reveal. That's fun for me. Yeah, the sticks and shadows. It's this guy. He's like the guy you're talking about, who's like, oh, there's no right trying, but then he'll be like, oh, sticks and shadows prove it. It's like, well, that's an angle of incidence causing a triangle on a stick in the shadow in the flat baseline.
Yeah, that's another thing that dude was trying to say. He said that we know the Earth's curve because of dip correction. Like, no, that's not what dip correction is. Dip correction has literally zero to do with anything curving a weak. You thought you could fly off the plane with your emotions.
Yeah, the dip correction you don't need to do if you're on a dinghy. If you're on a dinghy, you'd only have to do it if you're on like the bow of a ship, and it's 200 feet above the water or 150 feet above the water. And then so that's why a lot of Navy guys will do the dip, because they're all on big ships. But if you're on a dinghy, you're not doing any dip correction. And if you're on an airplane and you're using a bubble section, you don't do any dip correction either.
Right. Yeah, I brought that up as well. And he goes, what did he say? He goes, so I'm like looking at the dip charts, and the lowest it even goes to is 8 feet. If you're 8 feet above the water. But still, that really has nothing to do with it. It's all about how high you are off the sea level.
Yeah, and it's all that's to do is to zero your horizontal it's to zero out your elevation and make it so it's horizontal instead of you being above the horizon looking down to the horizon, right? Or looking down to a water level, it would be you have to correct it because you're above, so you need to put yourself flush on that water, on that level water surface.
He said something to the effect of the horizon goes below eye level. Something like that, which is, then how do you see it?
Yeah, I think that there's that's just like some optics, because it's not the whole that was like a sort of misnomer, in that the horizon always rises to eye level, and that's not really the argument. The argument is that if it was a globe with the radius 3959, and you start raising, like, the horizon would stay where it's at, and it would and then the ball would become apparent the higher you go. Not like, oh, I can see further because I'm higher, but there's still no globe there. You would start seeing the globe, and the horizon would stay where it's at always, and it would get lower and lower
Right.
and lower, even though, like, you being like, it's like so it's like you being on in a big parking garage, right? And then you're at the very top of like 100-story parking garage. It's long. It's a long, infinitely long parking garage. That bottom the first level is always going to be below the 100 level, just because you're at the 100 level. Doesn't make the
Better,
parking garage a curve.
right? It might be better to say horizon rises with eye level, not to. But I mean, because it does rise with your eye level.
Yes.
And that's the thing that you like, all these videos of like high altitude balloon footage and stuff. And it's like if you take the high altitude balloon footage, the horizon from an airplane, the horizon from a ship, they're all relatively the same. You get way more barrel distortion with balloons because you're looking at so much. I mean, because there's only I guess I don't. But then again, when you're looking at a horizon from the ocean, you're standing there perfectly still, taking your image, whether you're laying on the sand, right at like an inch above, a couple feet above the water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're not bouncing balloons. Every balloon footage, like there's never one that's actually stable. They're always flopping around and stuff.
Yeah, them being floppy is good because then that shows like, oh, okay, this goes from a convex, horizon to concave to, and then it'll get twisted, and then you'll have like a little S shape to the horizon and stuff. Yeah, and it just shows like this is distortion in the lens of the camera. Very simple. You gotta
Absolutely.
love what Mr. Sensible is like. I'm gonna squash this image and see there's curve, and it's like, what the heck are you doing? You have to squash an image for you to prove something that isn't real. Like, what the heck?
Are you talking about when he took the image and like, let's say that the image was like the width of like a regular like computer monitor, like it goes, but then he
Yeah,
squashes it down to where it's like 2 inches wide.
yeah,
See, that's one thing. I saw Jaron. That was one of the first flat Earth videos I've ever seen. Was Jaron did that to his countertop, and his countertop was all curved.
yeah. It's hilarious.
Maybe, maybe it wasn't Jaron that did it, but he had a video of someone doing that to a countertop or a bathroom counter, something to that effect. He was the one showing it. It may have been him doing it.
Yeah, it's absurd stuff that they come up with, and people still every once in a while I'll get in my DMs like a picture of that, and I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Like that's what you have to do. Like you can't just walk outside and be like, yep, like I accept the way that this is. You have to be like, oh, I'm going to manipulate this photo, and here's the proof that reality isn't real, and it's all relative, which would mean subjective. So there is no absolute truth. You can know that's what they want you to think, is that you can't know absolute truth because the world is subjective. That's why people are confused about genders and stuff like that now. Is because they've been told for so long, like, hey, yeah, this reality that you experience isn't reality.
There's only, it's what's funny is like if you're like in North America, you think that like that's a problem going on everywhere, but it's really only going on in like 5 countries where people are
Yeah,
all of a sudden really confused about what the difference is between male and female.
yeah. I mean,
United
that's
States,
just
Canada, any English speaking country, and any country that's part of the EU, really.
yeah. All the ones beholden to the New World Order agenda, and basically all the what it would be the banking cartel countries,
Right.
because that doesn't exist in like Muslim countries.
Oh God, I was watching. Speaking of that, I was watching a show on Hulu the other day. It had Gordon Ramsay in it. It was some show I'd never seen before. But one of the contestants, it's all these people that like little like they're entrepreneurs, like they come up with like a new snack product or something, or they're event planners or whatever. They have an idea or an app,
It's like
and whoever
fish
wins the
tank, but
contest,
for food, for culinary fish tank or something like that. That sounds
culinary
fun.
like service, in like service like hotel stuff like that. And whoever wins, Gordon Ramsay's going to, give them $250,000 to invest or some shit like that. And this one
Yeah.
woman, she goes, I know everything about diversity. I'm a black female, I'm Muslim, and I'm gay. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh
Wow.
God, please don't go to Qatar or anything. You'll be in deep trouble.
Only in a very privileged society would, somebody try to get more privilege by saying they're unprivileged. It's like, hey, what's going on in Africa, right, lady? Genocide, child sex slavery. That's what's going on in genocide.
Mm.
But you think you're oppressed because you get awarded for feigning incomprehension of reality? I don't think so, lady. That's not oppression. That's called privilege. See, I
You
think
can't
these
tell them
people are
nothing.
confused. They say privilege, or they say oppression is oppression is but it's like, actually you're privileged to say that you're oppressed, because if you're actually oppressed, you wouldn't be here saying you're oppressed.
It's it's strange behavior. It really is very strange. And like I said, it's really only going on in a very handful and just small handful of countries.
Yeah, I think it's the symptom, though. It's just the symptom of many years of thinking we went to the moon. Oh, fun. Okay. Okay, I'll let her out in a minute. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's the symptom, because it's, like I said, since 1914, and the whole relativist idea has come about, and where people can deny their reality because it's all subjective.
1905, Einstein published his special theory, and then in 1912 he revisited it, and then pretty much back-to-back world wars. You can change a lot of things, and you can make a lot of I don't know. I mean, you kill that many people in those two short periods of time between World War I and World War II, and
I'll be in
the
when I
quote
finish
unquote
this.
Spanish flu and all that. You can change a lot of history.
Yeah, I think that's what the real disguise of the rocket, all the space program, was to get civilian endorsement for the military industrial rocketry complex, to where now we have weapons that can be used to just blow up stuff with the same rocket technology that was developed by Alex Parsons, or by Jack Parsons, right? And so
Mhm.
that's what it was, just in disguise. So everybody was saying, "Oh yay!" And then we have the fake moon landing happen, and everybody's supporting Oh yeah, throw more money at it, throw more money at it. And what we got was a
Right.
technology that is used to, warmonger.
Yeah. Rockets are definitely a thing. If you go into the moon, or you went to certain technology and how to pass around.
I didn't
With
catch
all the
catch
ICBMs
that.
not getting things. Oh, I might be breaking out from that service area.
Oh dang, yeah, it's a little muffled.
Oh, I was just saying that is a good way to build your military program and get better ICBMs and such. Start saying you're really
Yeah,
going to the moon.
yeah, I think, and that's why Russia would have gone along with it, because they're like, "Oh shit, we're gonna build up our military complex as well.
Oh, damn, my
Because it was
baby's freaking
the
out.
Cold War was right there, right after. So wasn't it? When would
Right.
it would have been right at that time, huh? I forget when the Cold War.
What, the Cold War?
Yeah, I'm not a very history buff on my dates.
No, no. I mean, I couldn't tell you the exact date, but pretty much that whole concept of like the United States and Russia hating each other and being enemies, and that all started pretty much immediately after World War II.
Yeah, and I'm sort of giving giving a credit that they're not working in tandem together and that there is some sort of opposition. I don't mean to do that at all, because I think these world governments work together completely. I don't think there's the conflicts that we see. I think it's the ends justify the means. So there's always people working on both sides making money.
Yeah. They do throw shade at each other, like the whole Ukraine thing going on right now. Well,
What
like
is that?
obviously the United States, like all the stuff going on in Ukraine. So clearly, the United States and Russia are really not getting along at the moment. As far as they want the script to say they're not getting along. But it was funny. I don't know what the title would be called, but pretty much like the equivalent to like whoever's in charge of NASA in the United States, like whoever's like the top bureaucrat official that's overseeing everything. Their version of Russia literally said like 3 months ago, we have no physical proof that the United States ever went. They said there's
Wait, what
nothing
was
we
the
can do
last
to
part?
verify it. The NASA equivalent guy in Russia said there's literally zero way they can verify that we ever went to the moon.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
And they
seen
just
some.
said that like 3 months ago.
Yeah, I saw some cosmonaut too had come out and been like, "No, we never went."
Yeah. I gotta put myself on mute for a minute. I gotta get my daughter out of the crib. She's losing her mind.
Oh yeah, take care. But here's one of the this one I guess he saw some comments I was making to somebody else, because I said known laws of physics debunk your faith-based illogical notion of a glob. There is no science that supports your faith-based belief in glob. You wouldn't know that, as you have no comprehension of what science is. So now somebody called Bug Retard V3. Sounds like a very good faith type of person, right? He said, "Which laws of physics are those?" I literally said, "Known laws of physics." Let me guess. A misrepresentation of entropy? I guess he knows my gas law argument, but entropy? Not quite. And then he says, or even better, do you think vacuums are a magical negative force because someone used a fancy number like 1 to the negative 17 Tor? These Gloomers make me laugh. They're hilarious. He's so desperate. He doesn't even know what the hell he's talking about.
I had since you're on gas pressure, I literally had somebody on YouTube the other day demand that I provide them citation that gas moves in all directions.
Citation.
And it's like, like, you need citation, that gas. Yeah. I send it to them, and then they start saying, then they, immediately start talking about Kepler or some shit. Like, okay, dodge.
Yeah. Oh well, actually, because I see a light in the sky, that's not real. Like, okay. Yeah, this one's funny. Like the magical negative force. I had somebody yesterday. So I gave him the citation like of because somebody had commented, "Oh, NASA assumes a flat stationary Earth." So then I gave him the quote. It's like, "Oh, the flat station or whatever the actual quote from the NASA was assumes a non-rotating flat Earth or whatever." And I said they do this because they do this when they're studying aerodynamics and flight dynamics. And then he's like reference, and I'm like, NASA, and he's like, that's not a citation. I was like, you didn't ask for a citation. And then I was like, well, you do. And then he was like, oh, you're saying nonsense. You can't give me a citation. I was like, hey, buddy, Google exists. So look it up. I think it was underneath in one of Nathan's videos too. Like, I'm like, just go look it up. First of all, I can't even post a link in here. And then second of all, like, just go Google it. It's like not even hidden.
Well, they want it to be, though.
I think like stuff like that, they like to have it out. They want to have it out. Like, yeah, of course NASA just, assumes flat stationary. Why would they go through all the hassle of having to calculate a globe when they're doing their aerodynamic testing, And it's just like, And to us, it's like, that doesn't make sense. But then to a globe, it's like, well, yeah, obviously. You know how hard spherical geometry is? It's like, okay. It's like this is NASA, whoever nerd will say is like the authority on everything, but then they're too lazy to do spherical geometry. But then you want to tell me there's such thing as spherical geometry? Something isn't making sense. But to them, that just supports their fragmented mind, where they can hold two contradictory positions at the same time. Because they'll contradict themselves in the next, they'll say something and then contradict it in the next breath, and then be oblivious to doing it, even after being pointed out, like, no, that's a contradiction. And it's like you have to go through like Nathan's rigmarole, where you grab them by their short hairs and you tug them around for 2 hours, and they're still not going to get it. They're going to want to move on to another thing. Oh, fragmented minds.
That guy, did you see any of the live show today?
No,
Something.
I only caught a little bit of it and then hopped on. What was it? Tell me some synopsis.
Oh, well, somebody else wanted to talk in the thing, so I thought someone else wanted to say something. But no, it was essentially, it was about Coriolis effect. For some reason, it slipped my mind.
Oh,
And
yeah.
And the guy never went detailed what kind of stuff actually did, so the very
Hold on, you're breaking up again. Yeah, it's broken.
Can I address the thing about the spherical geometry?
Oh, bacon?
Yo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so about using spherical geometry or not, there are obviously examples where there's no reason to use them, even if there's actually a globe, still not any sense to use
So
it.
you're bacon.
Let me give an example.
Straight. No. Here, let me give you an example.
Like jet at an elevation angle.
We're flying a jet airplane at Mach 3, and we're flying across the country. We don't need to do spherical geometry.
I'm not sure what the specific thing you're trying to calculate for is.
Okay.
Let me give one example where there's no reason to use spherical geometry. Example, if I
give
get
me
coordinates. Yeah, if I have coordinates that are too close to each other.
No. We're talking about in reference to NASA and doing their flight aerodynamics.
Okay, then I don't know. Then I
flight
don't know the
dynamics.
specifics.
We're not talking
Okay,
about
then
navigation. We're talking about flight dynamics.
well, me neither. I wasn't. Doesn't have to be specific to
Okay.
navigation. Coordinates are just coordinates. But if you want to talk about specifically about like airplane stuff, then yeah, I don't know the specifics.
Yeah, because we were talking about how NASA assumes a flat, stationary, non-rotating Earth when they do their flight dynamics.
Yeah, I don't see why you should expect a lot of a difference in aerodynamics.
Well, I mean, let's say just a regular commercial airplane flying across the country 500 miles an hour or 500 miles. It's gonna have to correct for always dropping horizon. It's dropping 47 feet a second. 47 feet a second. The ground is going to be dropping out from underneath the airplane. So you don't think you need to do spherical geometry then? And that's just commercial. That's why I asked about Mach 3. If you're going the same distance at Mach 3,
that's not even spherical geometry. Spherical geometry doesn't deal with elevation change. It deals with points on the surface. We're talking about things dropping
and that would be
on
what you claim as a sphere.
Yeah,
and that's why there's a sphere dropping. So you don't have to do spherical geometry to calculate the sphere dropping away.
Yeah, if you wanna take into account the effect of earth beams here, that's one thing, but that's not called spherical geometry because spherical geometry is something specific to points on the surface, not to.
Okay, well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, let's say you're at the point you're starting from north the East Coast beach, what is it, Virginia Beach. We're at Virginia Beach, and we're gonna fly an airplane at Mach 3 to Los Angeles. You don't think you got to do spherical geometry?
I think you do if you want to get the route. Like
I mean, I don't think you have to because I don't think there's a sphere that you're flying over.
Yeah, but obviously you're asking if Earth is a sphere, if you would have to do that, not if in reality you would have to.
Yeah, you wouldn't have. You don't think you would have to do it?
I think you'd have to use spherical geometry to get the route, for example, to get the direction or something. Yeah, so
no, you would have. You would just be. I'm going south, so you wouldn't have to use spherical geometry to go south or to go west, right?
Well, to know exactly how south is, you're going
to go west. I would use the compass. What do you mean? I wouldn't need to use spherical geometry then.
The compass doesn't point to your target. The compass points to magnetic north. You're not going to magnetic north, are you?
Yeah, so I would go to specific city. I would go to the south, right?
And not due south. There is a certain angle you have to aim
south, like directly south. Like I mean, there's a little deviation, but pretty much Virginia Beach is parallel, right, with or on the same latitude as Los Angeles.
It means same longitude, right?
Yeah, that's what I said. Did I break out? Yeah, same longitude.
Right.
Similar longitude. I think I think Los Angeles is a little lower.
Right. Yeah, so it's not the same. If it's not the same longitude, you're going to have to use spherical geometry to get the right direction.
Huh? But you wouldn't have to use it to fly, like for navigating the ground dropping out from underneath you rapidly. You wouldn't have to do it for that though. Just for direction. Just spherical geometry for direction. Huh?
I don't think so. All the airplane needs not to drop with the Earth is to have the same angular rotation that would keep with the surface, which it would have, given how it interacts with the atmosphere.
So yeah, so it would just the gravity would just automatically point the nose down, so that it would be nosing down the whole time, going around the curve.
It's a little more complicated than that.
Oh, how well, nice. You know about it? Tell me.
Oh, I have a rough idea, but I don't think it's that simple. So,
but
there are a couple things that go over
to actually dip in an airplane. It's got an airplane at level flies with a 3-degree incline. Usually, a jet usually like 1. So at some point you're saying that 3 degrees is nose down, but if the Earth was flat, the plane would have to fly at a 6 degrees tilt. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, obviously,
Okay.
that's not what it said at all.
Okay.
Right. So yeah, there are components to what determines if the airplane is going to gain altitude or lose altitude, right? And the airplane is not a projectile. You don't point it, shoot in a direction. The plane simply goes in a perfect straight line, regardless of what's taking place in its surrounding. It interacts with the atmosphere.
There's
It's
wind. There's
not.
wind, right? There's wind gusts.
There's a lot of shit. Yeah, there's it interacts with the atmosphere, and the plane determines its altitude based on air pressure. So it tries
Based on the air
to
pressure. So you are saying that the pilot is physically nosing down, like 47 to account for 47 feet a second on a commercial airplane.
well, from an outside perspective, that would be what's happening with the airplane. Yeah.
But I watch airplanes go across the sky all day. They don't curve. The chemtrail, contrails, or whatever. They don't curve. Flies over my head. I see it. I
Okay,
see it from
let's.
one side, as far as I can see east, and as far as I can see west.
Right,
And there
and how
is
far
no
is it?
curve to the And do you think the pilot is curving? He's nosing down, or do you think he's flying level?
Let's run the numbers. Let's see if you should see some noticeable tilt in the airplane. Right? You said, given how far you can see the airplane,
What do
you
you
don't
mean?
notice
What
it
the
tilting.
numbers do?
Yeah, it's got to
I
compensate
know what I said.
for the Earth dropping away from it at 47 feet a second.
Either pilots
Yeah,
compensate the curve or they don't, and they say they don't even think about it.
yeah. We're not talking
There's
about whether
nowhere
or
in
not.
any
Okay, yeah, go speak over me. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, we're not
there's
talking
there's
about.
nowhere in any there's nowhere in any flight manual where it says pilots have to fucking adjust for curvature in
Did I
flight.
say that? Did I say that?
So you're
Did I say
saying the
that's
plane
something
just
the
does it
pilot?
automatically?
It's not
No,
that it
yeah,
does it
that's why I asked him
automatically.
if the gravity does it for the
I
airplane, but he
didn't say
said no, he
gravity
didn't
does
say
it.
that. Yeah, he said he didn't
Yeah,
say that.
I wouldn't say gravity is doing it. I would also didn't. I would also not say
Well, who's
it's
doing
something
it?
automatic.
Someone has got to be doing it. For that's a lot. That's 50 feet a second is a lot, and then that ends up being a lot over time, right?
Yeah, all the airplane has to
Someone's
do,
got to be correcting for it. Who?
all the airplane has to have, in order for that to happen, is that it rotates roughly at the same rate as the Earth does. So, for example, if it flew
Which
So
would
no
be
Coriolis.
47 feet a second.
let me just get it in a bit. Oh, you're talking about how it drops from a horizontal. As soon as the airplane moves, the horizontal is another horizontal. It doesn't make any sense to keep using the same horizontal as reference. But on the globe,
No,
they're not the same.
the horizon is the reference. That's why they always have the heads up display with the horizon, and that's where the level is. They have a horizon indicator,
Yeah,
and
but
they fly
that's
with
as
the
soon as you
horizon. Are you
move.
saying the horizon indicator is always changing, and then the plane is automatically changing its angle of attack?
On a globe, obviously, the horizontal of one place is not the same as the horizontal in another place. And if the airplane is following that, then it's going to follow what the horizontal is of the globe.
So you are saying that the plane is nosing down to compensate for this 47 feet a second drop of the Earth.
Not usually, it doesn't. It's not like it has something has to do something that happens, given how.
It's
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
it does.
There's no adjustment for curvature anywhere in flight.
There is adjustment. Did I say that? Did
No,
I
there
say there's a?
isn't.
Is
There
there
is
adjustment?
no adjustment.
Did
Yeah,
I say
is
there
there
is?
adjustment? Is there
I don't think
adjustment?
so.
Is
I
there
don't think
adjustment
so.
of the angle of attack?
I don't think so. Like
I
not
don't
for
think
the
so
Earth's
either.
curvature.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think so either because there is no Earth curvature.
It's a
or
hard
because you
no.
wouldn't have to do it on a curved Earth.
It wouldn't have to do it on a flat Earth. It would have to do it on a curved Earth, on a
I
globe Earth.
don't think so.
Well, why?
I
It
think
would
you're.
have
I think
to.
you're not. I think you're not
So
applying the. Hang on a second. Let me finish a single sentence, please. I don't think you're applying the correct dynamics when you're determining whether or not that would be something that would have to be done, given
Well,
how
what
airplanes
dynamics
work.
am I missing? What are the dynamics that I'm missing? Because that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, how
Yeah,
is
one of the
47 feet a second being corrected for?
right. One of the things I was trying to say for the past 5 minutes is that all the airplane has to have is to have the same angular rotation, like to tilt amount of degrees per second is the same as the Earth's curvature. So if it flew over 70 miles, then all the airplane will have to do during that time is to tilt 1 degree during that time, right? And
So
Okay.
it's just a
So you're
circle.
saying that it is tilting, it is nosing down at some point in that 70 miles. That's what I want to know. When and how is it nosing down to compensate for the rapidly dropping away from its Earth, or its rapidly increasing elevation due to the rapidly dropping away Earth?
well, as I just said,
1
all it
degree
has
is
to have
fine, but that
is
would be what would 70? That would be yeah, half a mile of curvature.
hang on.
It would have
If
to
you spin
compensate for.
something, if you spin something, as soon as you stop spinning it, it doesn't immediately stop. Like it continues to spin, right? For one,
Talking about.
Okay.
when you spin something. I'm talking
So
about conservation of angular rotation, angular momentum.
so
Sorry.
you
Why would no? We're not.
okay, so
We're
that's
not
what you're
talking
saying.
about
The,
that.
the conservation of the front of the
Colors,
nose is that's why. So it automatically points the nose down, so it's automatically
doesn't
compensating
make
for
any sense
curvature.
to say
So it
automatically.
is.
Like
So it is.
if I
So it is
well, let me finish
correcting.
my sentence. If I rotate an object, like if I spin an object over my table, it's not like it's automatically spinning. I just gave it angular momentum and then it continues to have the angular momentum. It doesn't make any sense to say that that's automatic. You keep adding that word as if
So
there's
the
something
so the
actively doing that, which
but
is not what I'm
we're not
claiming.
talking about a kite. We're not talking about a kite, being
What?
spun around a Ferris wheel or something like that. We're talking about an airplane in free flight. It has the ability to go up and down and left,
Yep, yep,
right.
yep. But all it has to
So
have to keep up with the
it's not attached. There's no conservation of momentum to speak of.
why not? But there's no conservation on angular momentum.
Well, it's your
on an
claim.
airplane.
Where is it? What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. That's why I just say, oh, conservation of.
All
I'm
objects have
thinking
all objects
huh?
conserve angular momentum. There's nothing special about airplanes that
Angular
angular
momentum.
conservation of
Okay.
angular momentum doesn't exist
Where's the
anymore.
angular momentum? They're flying. They're flying up. Let's say it's going up. So the conservation of momentum is pushing it down
If
or
it
pushing
tries
its
to
nose
tilt,
down.
yeah, if you make any adjustment on the tilt of the airplane, so for example, you're gaining altitude, so you don't want to gain altitude, so you tilt it down a little bit. That's going to add angular rotation to your airplane,
What angular
right?
rotation are you talking about?
The one that moves the tip of the airplane down.
So okay,
That's
so you're
angular
saying
momentum. That you have to add angular momentum for the
pushing the
airplane.
tip of the airplane down.
Sorry, say that again.
That's what you're saying is angular momentum is pushing the tip of the airplane, the nose of the airplane down so that it actually
No,
is changing its AOA.
no. What I'm saying is, if, for example, these airplanes gaining altitude, you don't want to gain altitude, there's a certain altitude you have to fly over. So you
Yeah,
tilt
you get to the
the nose
altitude and
of
then
the
they level
airplane
off.
down. Hang on. So you tilt it down, the tip of the airplane down a little bit. By doing that, you're tilting the whole
Pilot
airplane.
will do
You're
that
adding
himself.
angular momentum to it. Hang on a
So
second.
then, so you're saying once he starts
One
nosing
second.
down, then it just stays nose down, and they just like sort of balance it out. That's
I thought airplanes
interesting.
fly with the nose angled up at an angle.
Yeah, they fly at about a 3 degree at AOA, nose up a little bit when they're flying level. It's due to design, but like that's why I was talking about like let's talk about NASA, and they're flying a MiG jet at Mach 3. What then? Yeah, that's interesting. I've never heard it that way. Normally it's gravity, but no, you're saying angular momentum of a spinning Earth pushes the nose down so that it is correcting for the Earth curve the entire time because of because once they set level, it's actually just a balancing act of it actually angular momentum affecting it to perfectly fly above a glob. Interesting. I love the globe lore. It's always funny.
Mhm. So he automatically automatically doesn't believe in the Coriolis effect.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah. Well, I think he was kind of maybe mixing Coriolis into it because the Coriolis pushes the nose down. So whatever he thinks, the Globiolus actually corrects the angle of attack by pushing the nose down for the
Well,
pilot. So it's not gravity;
right.
it's Coriolis that is nosing the airplane down to correct for the rapidly dropping away Earth. Interesting.
Right. But
Fantastic.
Also never mind plays fly and happens upwards. Which is so what he's saying is all nonsense. Also, that's conservation of angular momentum because he's not going to like this word, but now he's claiming that the Earth, that the plane is moving lockstep with the location of the Earth.
Hey, you're breaking up. I can only catch like every other word. Sorry, bro.
Drop and rejoin. Just leave the hangout and rejoin again. Or leave, refresh the Discord server, then rejoin.
All right, I'll be right back.
What's up, Nathan? I'm glad your computer's working, bro.
Do. It's too early to say that. I'm still testing it.
Yeah, that's a shame. But I'm glad you're having some shows again.
I'm back.
Yeah, things are looking up.
I love it. Love to hear that. All right, I'm back.
Pretend I'm not
Hopefully,
here. I'm testing things. Pretend I'm not here.
yeah, you sound a lot better now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my Wi-Fi gets real spotty. It's fast as shit, but like you go outside or go into certain rooms, it completely disappears. But I can download Battlefield 1 on my Xbox in like an hour.
I've been playing Starfield a lot.
I haven't played that.
It's good fantasy. But mostly I just like going around. I built like the outpost, and then I've probably spent like 100 hours. And then I go into the world and then collect like the little items, the crap items. But then I go and decorate my outpost. It's like a dollhouse for me, dude. I've spent way too much time decorating outposts in that game. I've barely even like played the actual game. I just like build the outpost, then go find stuff to decorate the outpost.
Nice. That's the fun part about games like that. But what happened? Bacon left?
Yeah, looks like it. Yeah, he said conservation of momentum noses the airplane down. You gotta leave after that.
Yeah, I would. Damn, I was going to ask him some celestial nav questions because I think he's like, in his mind, he's like an expert on it.
Well, no, the only thing he can do is his method, which is elevation angles from hell. It's interesting. I sat here and let him do like a hour-long presentation of it for me. So yeah, I'm sure. I want to know what you're talking about. I'm not averse to information.
Yeah, but then what happens with that is all they ever want to do is chant how flat earthers never touch a sextant before, which I never have. I've never used one. I've just read about it. But I'm starting to think he's never used one either because you got to use the horizon mirror to bring your star down to the horizon. And if it's going below your eye level behind a curve, how are you able to see it?
Yeah, his whole
and there's no discernible curvature anywhere.
His whole method is like you have the angles already. You have the angles to the stars, and then he can move the sphere in 3 dimensions to gain the position or whatever. So it really just is outside of real world application. It's purely, I mean, I guess you could use you could do the calculations after taking some, but then you just have to ignore like what you actually just did in taking the elevation angles from horizontal. But
Okay.
interesting. I like his demeanor. Like he's a good guy. I wouldn't say just his demeanor is nice, much better than like a Sean Hawkins or somebody. So it's like, I like to talk to Bacon.
He's a little more like meek, which is fine. I mean, he's not
Yeah,
going to
wouldn't say he's
try to rip
humble.
your head off. And
Yeah, but he is definitely he's got a kind, meek demeanor,
yeah,
which I can, you can't be mad at.
I mean, you're not going to get into a screaming match with Bacon, which is fine.
Well, you almost did, because what he was saying was kind of absurd and crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, are you seriously saying this right now? Like, what is wrong with you, Bacon? You just said conservation of momentum noses the airplane down for the pilot.
Yeah, and that's what the whole live show was about today. So clearly, based on how on what it takes to have a Coriolis in the first place, so there's no Coriolis taking place. I just find it hilarious how all they do is talk about conservation of momentum and going from the top of the pole down to the equator, but you're just constantly like keeping up with the rotation. But then if you say lockstep, they freak out when that's exactly what they're detailing is the Earth is moving lockstep with the airplane, or the airplane is moving lockstep with the Earth. I mean,
Yeah, conservation of momentum only applies to a single enclosed reference frame. So their whole, their arguments would then start to debunk the ability for spacemen to go into outer space.
right?
Whee! We're spinning at the speed of sound right now.
Yeah,
Don't you feel it?
I was
Well, you only feel acceleration.
Yeah, but aren't we on an elliptical orbit, which means it has periods where it speeds up and slows down because it's elliptical.
Yeah.
So there's definitely acceleration.
And if the Earth was spinning as it's spinning around, it would, there would be rapid increases at the apex, right? And then you're spinning on the outside, and then there would be decreases in speed when you're spinning on the inside. When it would come to the inside and you're inside, it'd be one of those one of those carnival rides where the people just the zipper carnival ride, where it goes around and flips, and then you're in the single thing and it's flipping all around. That's what it would be like.
It's a NASCAR track. Big oval.
I can't turn left. Right. I can't turn right. Some Zoolander NASCAR shit.
Yeah, it's silly. It's all just baseless assertions. Like he said a real good one. I can't remember what it was now. I wish he didn't leave. I guess I kind of chased him off. I didn't mean to. But just he starts saying really.
No, I think Nathan said something, and then he dropped after that for some reason.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was you. I think he is scared of Nathan.
Yeah, that's why everybody was on.
And I'm just kidding. I'm being hyperbolic. Of course he's not. But yeah, no, it was just the timing. Coincidence.
On this channel. Like I was going back like 4 years just because I was still relatively new to the topic. So I kind of like.
With whose channel?
Well, just this one. Like if I follow like the flat Earth debate, it's like this format. I found this about 7 or 8 months after was already into this topic. I kept thinking Nathan Oakley and Nathan Thompson were the same person.
Ooh, big
I just kept
difference.
remembering. Yeah, you're right. So I'm like, who the fuck? I'm like, why is he a British guy? I thought he was an American guy that was like, what's its age? And he used to go on one. But oh, okay.
Nathan Thompson came on to QE's show because I guess he had like a falling out with Witsit. So then he came on to like QE's show and he's like, yeah, these people don't like Witsit, so these are my people now. But then I was in the chat, I was like, hey, maybe you should just make amends with him. He did give you a phone, like he did give you the phone, like make amends with them and stuff. I was like, because I don't have hate for Witsit or any. It's like I think in his debates, I think he does a poor job when the gravity comes up and then he starts talking about his conjecture, which I don't think is fine. I think he can on his channel talk about his conjecture all he wants, but I think when it comes to like having a formal debate, you shouldn't bring in conjecture and stuff like that. Even though I don't know, there's arguments to be made, but I don't have disdain for Witsit, but I get where it's frustrating for the panel, where it's like, no, these arguments are very nailed down, and something like a conceding gravity to argue, some sort of conjecture is not conducive to winning a debate. It's now it just turns it into a discussion. A debate is prove your shit, and if you don't, you lose. That's how the MDD debates should be, but MDD debates are just masturbation, feelings, and more. It's not anything to do with coming to some conclusions or establishing, what was right or wrong said. It's just like, oh, this person believes they're right, and then all the secularists are clearly correct. It's an echo chamber. I do.
I noticed it just has a very left-leaning audience.
If you want to know, if you want to question, the format of MDD, and like it's that it's an echo chamber, and it is a very partial, even though like the guy that runs MDD is supposedly a Christian or whatever. Like these people are the most dishonest. Like MDD is a dishonest platform. They're scumbags. I was also banned from Modern Day Debate Discord too, because I like definitions of words and I think people should use definitions correctly. But I was deleted from that too. But 2 weekends ago, there was a secularist humanism debate versus Christian, and it was ethics, based on purely ethics. And the secular humanist Matt Dillahunty had to leave the debate in rage, and then everybody who's involved in modern day debate, who's there in the crowd, got up and talked down to Andrew, saying, "How dare you, Andrew? How dare you say that a man can be a woman? The debate is about ethics." And like that was his argument for bringing it up, was that in my ethics, I got to tell you the truth. In his ethics, he has no obligation to tell you any truth whatsoever, not even to himself. And then every intellectual dishonest clown that's involved in modern day debate stood up and talked down to him. It was terrible. It was atrocious. But that was very beneficial, because it does make distinct that secular humanists have no ethics whatsoever. It's always a chemical mind preference sort of thing. And what a dishonest platform that is. Like, I hate modern day debate. They're such scumbags, and they're liars and deceivers.
Their debates from several years ago are much better than the ones that happened. So I think the moderators are trash.
Yeah, for the creator of modern day debates to like claim that he's Christian, but then make his platform a hive mind for secular humanists. It's like clearly there's some agenda going on. You know what I mean? Like, it's like this guy sat there James, the guy that owns Modern Day Debate or runs Modern Day Debate, he sat there and
He's the
said,
guy with glasses, right?
that's not very Christian. I think he's got glasses. He's got a big back tattoo of Subway, and he gets free Subway for life. That's his claim to fame, I guess.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, very, very weird, very weird. They're all nerds, but it's a secular humanist. It's an atheist hive mind over there, and then he's sitting there telling a Christian that he's not acting Christian like because he made an argument in a debate and won. So it was like, you should go watch it because it just shows how intellectually dishonest everybody involved with modern day debates is. And then that is, I think, a smaller scope of the greater echelon of all secular humanists, all atheism. They all act that same pathetic way where they lose a debate and then there's no way out. They're cornered, and then they just cry and feign some sort of attack or whatever these people do. Oh, I'm so privileged to sit here and tell you that I am oppressed. Disgusting.
Yeah. Was General on the debate? I feel like he was.
He may have. I'm not sure. I don't think so. There's like sort of like Witsit will go on modern day debates. He's like sort of the main, like the biggest like flat earth name that goes on that platform. But then there's like other lesser named people, like they'll do the flat earth debates, but then it's like usually not with anybody like
I've
of
seen Alex Stein do
renown.
flat earth debates.
What'd you say?
That kid, Alex Stein, him and Jaredism and Dave Weiss used to have a show with him Thursday. That kid's blowing up. He's having 25 funny.
Oh, Alex Stein?
Yeah.
Alex Stein, he's just a troll. He blew up. He's all been on Alex Jones. He's been on Daily Wire. He's been on there with Michael Knowles, Candace Owens, and it's just I don't. He's just he started doing the I guess he started doing the COVID thing where he was just like making a joke, and then his whole thing is he trolls. He pretends he's a liberal, and then just says absurd things, which I don't think is I don't think it's very healthy for like even like the argument. I guess it's good entertainment. It's funny, but then it makes him look like a liar. Because it's like, well, that's not really even though he will present the absurd position of liberals to them, but it comes off in sort of a dishonest way, because he's making fun of them. So I don't think it's very conducive for conversation, but it's great entertainment. When he goes in front of the town hall meetings and makes a mockery of liberalism, it's entertaining, but doesn't really.
Because of Dave Weiss and Jared, like they were pumping his channel for some reason. When he didn't even have he had less subscribers than they did.
I think he just came out as I just think he came out as gay. Didn't he just come out as gay? He did like a serious town hall meeting and talked about him being gay in that town hall. But he joked so much, I don't know if that was him being honest or I don't know what's going on with the guy.
Yeah, no, I think anybody, not everybody's engaging. In this day and age, it's like anyone can say they're getting college.
Hold on, you're breaking up. I didn't catch what you were saying.
Yeah, hold on 1 second.
Gotta take care of the little one.
He was sick with a stomach bug for like 3 days, so he's totally feeling better.
Oh.
Of course, my wife's working today and tomorrow, so I'm kind of stuck with her for the 2 days. I mean, it's fine. It's not stuck with her, but by myself with her.
I know what you mean. That's the love. That's the little love of your life. You enjoy it, but I know it's a lot of work. Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? It's really unclear.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, no, there's just me and the baby, and I ain't really. She doesn't say much back if I talk to her. So.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, no, the reception went out. It almost sounded like there was a woman, like you were talking to a woman in the room too. So I didn't know if your wife was there too, and I didn't know if you
Oh
went
no,
near your
no,
mic or something. But yeah, I didn't hear what you had said. So
no.
no,
It's
I'll
just
probably go on.
it's the horrible Wi-Fi where I just moved to. Like it's Spectrum, so it's a pretty known company, and it's weird. Like I could download like Xbox One games in like an hour and a half, have a complete game downloaded, whereas before it would take like 7 hours where I used to live. But
You
if
gotta
you
get
walk in just certain areas of the house, it completely
mhm,
disappears.
you gotta get one of those Wi-Fi extenders. They're like $30
I
on
think it's
Amazon, and
I think
it'll
it's just the
extend
way
your
it's
Wi.
all set up.
No, yeah, it'll. Well, it's probably because you go behind too many walls or whatever from where your Wi-Fi setup is at. Because there's no problem with your connection, obviously, but where you go into a place that the Wi-Fi connection isn't strong because it's probably having to penetrate, maybe a refrigerator or some metal is blocking the way when you go somewhere else. But if you get a Wi-Fi extender, you can put it in the other end of your house, and it's like $30. You just set it. You just assign it to your Wi-Fi router, and then you'd sign into that as another router. So then whenever that you would go out of range of the other one, it would just seamlessly switch to the other Wi-Fi that you would have, which would just be the extender of the Wi-Fi. So where you put the extender, it would have a strong signal for the Wi-Fi, and then that would give you wherever that part of the house. It'll extend your signal like another 100 feet or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, look into that. Just put Wi-Fi. You can get them for cheap and they work. I mean, if you get them too cheap, obviously, then you'll probably have to get a new one in like a year or something, because you know how they make products where they blow out after a year. But yeah,
Right.
relatively cheap investment though to get clean Wi-Fi through the house.
Oh yeah, I think a lot of it just has to do with how it was physically set up. Like they didn't bury the cable that runs along the house. It's kind of just out in the yard in the weather and stuff. And
It could be
it's
affecting
just
it, but if you say that you can download something fast, and the internet for streaming and stuff is fine. It would seem like good just when you went into your daughter's room. It's just like that area. There's probably something
right.
blocking the Wi-Fi signal.
Mm. Yeah, it's where
Because
the
I mean,
router location is too. It's all the way in the very end of a house in my room, in my
yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
my
That's
bedroom.
the
So
thing.
it has to cut through everything.
Yeah, that's what the extender is for. So you get the Wi-Fi extender, and then you can plug it in the middle of the house. You just plug it into an outlet, and then you like go and you get on your computer and connect it to the to your main router, and then now you have 100 feet more, or if it's behind too many walls or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, that'll
Yeah, I have to
happen.
look
I
into
mean,
that.
just if you need it, but it's only just if you go in that one room, it seems.
Yeah.
So it would only benefit when we're having conversations. So unnecessary, but you might find it necessary sometimes.
Oh no, it would totally be necessary because like you go out in certain areas of the house and it's a complete dead spot. There's no Wi-Fi signal at all.
Yeah, you got a nice house, so get a Wi-Fi extender, bro.
Yeah.
Live it up, live it up.
Can't cut through the walls of my
Wi-Fi,
mansion.
nice.
Shit. Hmm.
Yeah,
Man, I can't believe Bacon left.
I might be going to that tennis because it's like in 2 weeks. So December 2nd, I'm like, oh, it's only 3.5 hours, and it's like um I'm not very religious. I would consider myself if I would have to have a denomination, Orthodox Christianity, um
Oh, like
but
Eastern Orthodox.
be Orthodox,
Yeah, I don't know what my
but I find
denomination would be. I do lean towards Orthodoxism too. I like it better than Catholicism.
I like that
And
there's like the established history. If I'm gonna believe in God, I like that there's an established history and tradition that's there, and as opposed to I don't know, and then I got a bad taste in my mouth from Protestants thinking they can be gay pastors and stuff like that, and not that it's not like I would be like, oh, I have a disdain for a person of homosexuality. I just don't think that that is conducive of a God fearing society.
right, exactly. They
You know
let
what
a
I
lot
mean?
of things slide,
Yeah,
and they
and like
steer people deliberately down the wrong path because they have so much sin in their lives. They're like, well, I need to make it acceptable because I do this behavior. Therefore, no, you won't go to hell for this or that. You know.
yeah, and it's just yeah, they end up becoming apostate, and it ends up being like not, and it's like, oh, like the whole message is like just accept Jesus, but it's like, well, I don't accept immorality. Like Jesus didn't accept immorality. He didn't
Right.
accept liars, deceivers. So basically, that was what was really hilarious about that. You got to go watch this debate on Modern Day Debates. It was Matt Dillhunty versus Andrew Wilson, secular humanism ethics versus Christianity ethics, and the atheists, like you probably seen Leo Filius, the little skinny, like we call him giraffe. He's got like a giraffe neck, little skinny, like sort of, I don't know if he's Arab or something, but some sort of like Arab nerd kid, and he and that's not disparaging anybody, I'm just giving you the scripture, but description of this guy, but he stands up and he starts quoting scripture to the guy. This like a hardcore socialist atheist starts quoting scripture, telling him he wasn't being like he wasn't being Jesus like. I that's why I sent that dude Andrew Wilson. I was like, wow, that was like inspiring. You got these atheists quoting scriptures. But yeah, and anyway, what I was saying, it's like normally I don't like the religious flat earth debate, but this one seems really interesting because the guy who's against the flat earth is so adamant and such a hypocrite, and he's like one of those one of these preachers that's like one the fake religion sort of preacher, or it's just like the Joel Osteen or the whatever the mega church sort of preacher leader guy, or he's acting like he's like a cattle like auctioneer, do I get a Jesus one night, I get a Jesus two, and it's like I can't stand that so much. So I want to go see that guy get demolished, and because he's clearly an apostate. He's trying to interpret the Bible as some sort of globe book. Well, then he's saying, no, I hate that they take the message of Jesus and then they make it into a globe earth, to a flat earth message. And it's like, no, you missed the whole point. Like, it's not that the Bible proves it, the earth is flat. It's that our reality proves that the Bible was correct and that it can be interpreted literally.
All
I
right.
find that interesting, and I want to go see it. It's only 3 hours.
Yeah, that seems like an interesting debate too. Christian pastors debating on the cosmology of the Earth.
Yeah, he says I'm gonna turn those 200 scriptures, and I'm gonna show that it's nonsense. So it's like you're saying that the Bible is nonsense, guy. Come on now.
I mean, in Genesis, the Earth was created before the sun. How is that heliocentrism?
Yeah. It's not.
Oh,
Not at all. Not at all. So yeah, I think it'll be fun. But normally, you know, I like that you know, Nathan's channel. It's like, hey, you know, there's religious flat earthers out there. If you want to go do a religious discussion, it's like he's not averse to having it on the show, like, you know, mentioning it, but that's not the main purpose. Isn't like, oh, this is my religion, I'm going to prove my religion. No, the main purpose is like, we're just strictly talking about the what do you know, how do you know it, shape of the earth. That's it.
right. And see, you know, personally, I'm a Christian. Like that's just, you know, I always have been. That's one of the main reasons why flat Earth was real easy for me to accept, because it's literally and I was always confused about how Genesis says the world was made and versus, you know, evolution.
Yeah.
And that's why I would get a little irritated with Jaranism and Dave Weiss, because they're extremely anti-Christian. And quite frankly, I've been listening to a flat Earth debate for a long time, and I don't think I've ever heard Nathan's opinion on anything like that, which is fine. I'd rather, like, you know, just because it's disparaging to me, because it's like, you know,
Yeah, he does mention.
that's just because I would take it personally. He doesn't go out of his way to attack anything.
Yeah, he's not attacking it, and he doesn't disparage when those discussions do happen on his channel, because, you know, 10th Man's very devout, and I think Paul is, most of the panel is really,
Yeah, QE
except yeah, QE for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nathan isn't a religious person, and I wouldn't say that I'm a religious person either, but I would say that if, you know, I'm picking a denomination, I'm picking Orthodoxy. I am interested in theology, and, you know, and I may not be the peak specimen of a perfect Christian, but I believe Jesus died for our sins.
Right. I just choose never to bring it up because there's nothing.
Documentation. Yeah, but there's no reason to bring that up. We're talking about the shape of the earth. I don't need to talk about that. But if you are talking to a religious person, then I can be like, hey, you're actually mixing theologies here, because you're mixing atheism, your glob heliocentric worldview. You're mixing that theology with, which is a pagan theology, you know, that worships Greek gods and Egyptian gods, Ra and Isis, with Christianity, and then you're worshiping a graven image, the globe. So they don't fit. You can't mix secularism with Christianity. You can't do it. It comes into too many conundrums. You have to say that the Bible is all allegory if you were to, because like you said, like you would have to just say Genesis, you know, wipe your ass with Genesis 1:1. But that's what's funny, because most people say, oh, you're religious. And it's like, hey, you know what? I've been studying theology for longer than I've been studying the flat earth, you know? And it's like, you're not ready for either discussion. Yeah. Right? Ultimately, you're not ready for either discussion. Because you don't know anything. And that's like 90% of all the people on social media. They don't know theology. They don't know science. They don't know why they believe the things they believe. They don't know logic.
Right.
what a day! What a lovely day!